The standoff with Korzak. Ethan and Lyra stood their ground, the fragile artifact clutched tightly between them. Korzak loomed ahead, his massive frame blocking their path. The alien warrior's eyes burned with defiance, his fists clenched as if ready to strike. The crowd, once murmuring with anticipation, fell silent, watching the tense standoff unfold. Ethan's mind raced. He knew they couldn't afford a physical confrontation, not with the artifact at risk. He glanced at Lyra, who nodded subtly, her sharp mind already working on a solution. Korzak, Ethan said, his voice calm but firm, this isn't about strength. It's about unity. If you want to prove yourself, help us finish this trial. Korzak hesitated, his expression flickering between anger and confusion. For a moment, it seemed like he might relent. But then his pride took over, and he let out a roar, charging toward them. A clever escape. Lyra acted quickly. She pressed a hidden button on the artifact, causing it to emit a blinding flash of light. Korzak stumbled, momentarily disoriented. Ethan seized the opportunity, grabbing Lyra's hand and sprinting past the stunned warrior. The crowd erupted into cheers as Ethan and Lyra crossed the finish line, the artifact intact. Korzak roared in frustration, but the trial was over. Ethan had won again, not through brute force, but through quick thinking and teamwork. Lyra's growing fascination. As they caught their breath, Lyra turned to Ethan, her eyes filled with a mix of admiration and curiosity. "You continue to surprise me," she said. "Your ability to adapt, to think on your feet, it's unlike anything I've seen before." Ethan smiled, though his heart was still pounding. "It's not just me," he said. "We make a good team." Lyra felt that familiar shiver again, stronger this time. She couldn't explain it, but being near Ethan stirred something deep within her, an emotion she couldn't quite name. The Shiver Effect. Later, as they rested between trials, Lyra decided to confront the strange sensation. "Ethan," she began hesitantly, "when I'm near you, I feel something. A shiver, like an energy passing through me. What is it?" Ethan looked at her, surprised. "I'm not sure," he admitted. "But humans have something called empathy. It's the ability to feel and share emotions with others. Maybe that's what you're experiencing." Lyra frowned, trying to process the concept. "Empathy," she repeated softly. "It's overwhelming. But also, beautiful." Ethan nodded. "It's what makes us human. It's why we fight for each other, why we care about others, even those who are different from us." Commander Zoratha's suspicion. Unbeknownst to them, Commander Zorath had been watching their interaction closely. The overseer's expression was unreadable, but his eyes narrowed with suspicion. He had never seen Lyra so captivated by a participant before, and it troubled him. "This human is dangerous," Zorath muttered to his assistant. "His influence is spreading. We must ensure he does not disrupt the balance of the trials." The next trial. The next trial was announced, and Ethan felt a surge of determination. He had come so far, but he knew the challenges would only get harder. This time, the trial was called the Trial of Resonance, a test of emotional connection and understanding. Ethan and Lyra were led to a circular chamber filled with glowing orbs of light. The voice echoed once more, "Welcome to the Trial of Resonance. To succeed, you must harmonize your emotions with the energy of the orbs. Only those who truly understand each other can pass." A test of connection. Ethan and Lyra stepped into the chamber, the orbs pulsing with a soft, rhythmic light. At first, nothing happened. Then, slowly, the orbs began to react to their presence, their glow intensifying. Lyra closed her eyes, focusing on the strange energy she felt whenever she was near Ethan. She let herself embrace the shiver, allowing it to flow through her. Ethan did the same, his thoughts filled with memories of Earth, of the people he was fighting for. The orbs responded, their light growing brighter and brighter until the entire chamber was filled with a dazzling glow. The voice returned, its tone filled with awe, harmony achieved. The trial of resonance is complete. A moment of understanding. As the light faded, Ethan and Lyra looked at each other, a deep sense of connection passing between them. For the first time, Lyra felt like she truly understood what it meant to be human. This, empathy, she said softly. It's powerful. It's like nothing I've ever experienced. Ethan nodded. It's what binds us together. It's what makes us strong. Korzak's doubt. Korzak watched from the sidelines, his usual bravado replaced by a look of uncertainty. He had always believed that strength was the ultimate measure of worth. But seeing Ethan and Lyra succeed through connection and understanding shook his beliefs to the core. The final trials approach. As the trials progressed, Ethan's victories continued to earn him both admiration and enemies. Commander Zorith grew increasingly wary, while Lyra found herself drawn deeper into the mystery of humanity. But the final trials loomed ahead, and Ethan knew they would be the most difficult yet. He would need all his strength, all his empathy, and all his determination to succeed. And as he prepared, he couldn't shake the feeling that the galaxy was watching, waiting to see if humanity would rise to the challenge. The arrival on the galactic stage. Ethan Voss stood at the edge of the massive arena, his heart pounding in his chest. The air was thick with the hum of alien technology, and the crowd's murmurs echoed like distant thunder. He had been chosen to represent humanity in the galactic trials, a series of challenges designed to test the worth of emerging species. Earth's fate hung in the balance, and Ethan knew he couldn't afford to fail. The first challenge. The first trial was a test of physical endurance. Ethan's opponent was Korzak, a towering alien warrior with muscles that seemed carved from stone. Korzak sneered at Ethan, his eyes filled with disdain. "You don't belong here, human," he growled. "This is no place for your fragile kind." Ethan took a deep breath, focusing on his training. He knew he couldn't match Korzak's strength, but he had other advantages. When the trial began, Ethan used his agility to evade Korzak's powerful blows, darting around the arena like a shadow. The crowd watched in stunned silence as the underdog held his own against the mighty warrior. A glimpse of humanity. As the trial progressed, Ethan noticed something strange. Korzak's attacks grew more erratic, fueled by frustration. Ethan realized that the alien's strength was also his weakness. He relied too much on brute force. With a quick maneuver, Ethan managed to disarm Korzak, earning a roar of approval from the crowd. Lyra's curiosity. From the sidelines, Lyra Nexus watched with growing interest. She had been assigned to observe the trials, but she hadn't expected to be so captivated by the human. There was something about Ethan's determination, his refusal to give up, that intrigued her. As Ethan emerged victorious, Lyra felt a strange sensation, a shiver that ran down her spine. She couldn't explain it, but she knew one thing for certain: Ethan Voss was unlike anyone she had ever met. The road ahead. Ethan's victory was just the beginning. As he prepared for the next trial, he couldn't shake the feeling that the challenges ahead would be even more difficult. But he also knew that he wasn't alone. Lyra's presence gave him hope, a reminder that even in this strange, alien world, there were those who believed in him. The galactic trials were far from over, and Ethan was ready to prove that humanity was more than just a fragile species. He was ready to show the galaxy what it meant to be human. The simulated world. Ethan stepped into the next trial, a vast, holographic simulation that shimmered like a mirage. The air around him shifted, and suddenly, he was standing in the middle of a bustling alien city. Towering spires of glass and metal stretched into the sky, and strange creatures moved about their daily lives. A voice echoed in his mind, cold and mechanical: "Welcome to the trial of judgment. Your decisions will determine the fate of this world." Ethan's heart raced. This wasn't just a test of intelligence or strength, it was a test of morality. He was being asked to make choices that would affect countless lives. The weight of responsibility settled heavily on his shoulders. The first decision. The simulation presented him with his first dilemma. A massive energy reactor was on the verge of collapse, threatening to destroy the city. Ethan had two options: sacrifice a small group of workers to stabilize the reactor or risk evacuating the entire city, knowing that failure could lead to even greater devastation. Ethan clenched his fists, his mind racing. He thought about the people in the city, their lives hanging in the balance. He thought about the workers, innocent individuals who didn't deserve to die. And then he thought about humanity, what it meant to be human, to value every life, no matter how small. With a deep breath, Ethan made his choice. He ordered the evacuation, refusing to sacrifice the few for the many. The simulation responded instantly, the city dissolving into chaos as the reactor began to fail. Ethan's heart sank, but he held on to hope. A surprising outcome. To his astonishment, the simulation didn't end in disaster. The evacuation succeeded, and the city was saved. The voice returned, this time with a hint of approval: your decision prioritized the value of all life. This is a trait rarely seen in the galaxy. Ethan felt a surge of pride, but he knew the trial wasn't over. The simulation shifted again, presenting him with a new challenge. Lyra's observations. From her observation pod, Lyra watched intently. She had seen countless participants fail this trial, their logic-driven decisions leading to catastrophic outcomes. But Ethan was different. He didn't rely solely on cold calculations, he listened to his heart. Lyra felt that strange shiver again, a sensation she couldn't quite explain. She found herself rooting for Ethan, hoping he would succeed. For the first time, she began to question her own species' assumptions about humanity. Korzak's mockery. As Ethan emerged from the simulation, Korzak was waiting for him. The alien warrior sneered, his voice dripping with contempt. You got lucky, human. But luck won't save you in the next trial. Ethan ignored the taunt, focusing instead on Lyra, who approached him with a curious expression. You surprised me again, she said softly. Your species, you value life in a way that is unusual. Ethan smiled. We're not perfect, but we try to do what's right. That's what makes us human. The growing threat. Unbeknownst to Ethan, his success was drawing unwanted attention. Commander Zorith, the overseer of the trials, watched from the shadows, his eyes narrowing with suspicion. He had never seen a participant like Ethan before, and it unsettled him. Zorith turned to his assistant, a small, insect-like alien. Keep a close eye on the human, he ordered. There's something different about him. The next challenge. Ethan's victory in the trial of judgment earned him a brief respite, but he knew the next trial would be even more difficult. As he prepared, he couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched. Lyra approached him again, her expression unreadable. The next trial will test your ability to inspire, she said. It's not just about strength or intelligence, it's about leadership. Ethan nodded, his mind already racing. He didn't know what to expect, but he was determined to face it head-on. A glimpse of unity. As Ethan walked toward the next trial, he noticed something strange. The crowd, once indifferent or hostile, was now watching him with a mix of curiosity and respect. Even Korzak's usual taunts were quieter, as if the alien warrior was beginning to doubt his own superiority. Ethan felt a spark of hope. Maybe, just maybe, he was starting to change their perception of humanity. The trial of unity. The next trial began, and Ethan found himself standing in a vast, open field. The voice returned, echoing in his mind, welcome to the trial of unity. You must lead a team to overcome a series of challenges. Success depends on your ability to inspire and unite. Ethan looked around and saw Lyra stepping forward, her expression determined. "I'll be your partner," she said. "If you'll have me." Ethan smiled, feeling a surge of gratitude. "I wouldn't want anyone else by my side." The challenge begins. The first challenge was a race against time. Ethan and Lyra had to navigate a treacherous obstacle course while carrying a fragile artifact. If the artifact was damaged, they would fail. As they worked together, Ethan noticed how Lyra's analytical mind complemented his own creativity. They moved as one, their teamwork flawless. But just as they neared the finish line, Korzak appeared, blocking their path. "You won't win this easily," the alien warrior growled, his eyes blazing with anger. Ethan and Lyra exchanged a glance, their determination unwavering. Together, they faced Korzak, ready to prove that unity was stronger than any obstacle. The gathering storm. The galactic trials were reaching their climax, and the tension in the arena was palpable. Ethan could feel the weight of expectation pressing down on him. Each trial had tested him in ways he never imagined, but the next challenge, the trial of unity, promised to be the most daunting yet. The voice echoed through the arena, cold and commanding, "Welcome to the trial of unity. In this challenge, you must work together to overcome a series of obstacles. Only through true cooperation can you succeed." Ethan glanced at Lyra, who stood beside him, her expression calm but determined. They had become a formidable team, their bond growing stronger with each trial. But this time, they wouldn't be alone. The team assembles. The trial required a team of 4, and Ethan and Lyra were joined by 2 other participants, Tarek, a stoic alien with a reputation for strategic brilliance, and Nissa, a fiery warrior known for her speed and agility. Tarek nodded at Ethan, his expression unreadable. "I've seen your performance in the trials," he said. "You have potential. But potential alone won't win this." Nissa grinned, her sharp teeth glinting in the light. "Let's see if you can keep up, human." Ethan smiled, though he felt a flicker of unease. He didn't know these aliens, and their motivations were a mystery. But he knew one thing for certain: if they were going to succeed, they would need to trust each other. The challenge begins. The trial took place in a sprawling, labyrinthine structure filled with traps, puzzles, and hidden dangers. The team's goal was to retrieve a sacred artifact from the heart of the labyrinth and return it to the starting point. As they entered the labyrinth, Ethan took the lead, his mind racing as he analyzed their surroundings. The walls were lined with strange symbols, and the air was thick with an eerie silence. "Stay close," Ethan said. "We don't know what's waiting for us." The first obstacle. The team soon encountered their first challenge, a massive door sealed shut by a complex locking mechanism. Tarek stepped forward, his sharp eyes scanning the symbols etched into the door. "This is a logic puzzle," he said. "We need to input the correct sequence to unlock it." Ethan and Lyra worked together, their combined knowledge of alien technology and human creativity helping them decipher the puzzle. Nissa kept watch, her keen senses alert for any signs of danger. After several tense minutes, the door clicked open, revealing a dark corridor beyond. A test of trust. As they ventured deeper into the labyrinth, the challenges grew more difficult. At one point, the team had to cross a narrow bridge over a bottomless chasm. The bridge was unstable, and the slightest misstep could send them plummeting into the abyss. Nissa went first, her agility allowing her to navigate the treacherous path with ease. Tarek followed, his movements deliberate and precise. When it was Ethan's turn, he hesitated, his fear of heights momentarily paralyzing him. Lyra placed a hand on his shoulder, her touch sending a calming shiver through him. "You can do this," she said softly. "Trust yourself." Ethan took a deep breath and stepped onto the bridge, his focus unwavering. With Lyra's encouragement, he made it across safely. The final challenge. The team finally reached the heart of the labyrinth, where the sacred artifact rested on a pedestal. But as they approached, the ground beneath them began to tremble, and the walls shifted, closing in around them. "It's a trap!" Nyssa shouted. "We need to get out of here." Ethan's mind raced. They had come too far to fail now. He turned to Tarek. "Can you disable the trap?" Tarek nodded, his hands moving swiftly as he worked to deactivate the mechanism. But time was running out. "We need to buy him time," Ethan said, turning to Nyssa and Lyra. "Let's hold the walls back." The three of them braced themselves against the closing walls, their combined strength slowing the trap's progress. Sweat dripped from Ethan's brow as he pushed with all his might, his muscles screaming in protest. Just when it seemed like they couldn't hold on any longer, Tarek shouted, "Got it." The walls stopped moving, and the trap was deactivated. The team collapsed to the ground, exhausted but triumphant. The artifact secured. Ethan reached for the sacred artifact, a glowing crystal that pulsed with a soft, otherworldly light. As he held it, he felt a surge of energy, a connection to something greater than himself. "We did it," he said, his voice filled with awe. Lyra smiled, her eyes shining with pride. Together. The return journey. The journey back to the starting point was no less perilous, but the team moved with confidence, their bond stronger than ever. When they finally emerged from the labyrinth, the crowd erupted into cheers. Even Korzak, who had been watching from the sidelines, couldn't hide his grudging respect. "You've proven yourself, human," he muttered. "But the final trial will be your undoing." Commander Zoratha's warning. As the team celebrated their victory, Commander Zorath approached, his expression stern. "You've done well," he said, his voice cold. "But don't think for a moment that you've won. The final trial will test you in ways you cannot imagine." Ethan met Zoratha's gaze, his determination unwavering. "We'll be ready." A moment of reflection. As the team prepared for the final trial, Ethan found himself reflecting on everything he had learned. The trials had tested his strength, his intelligence, and his empathy. But more than that, they had shown him the power of unity, of working together toward a common goal. He looked at Lyra, Tarek, and Nyssa, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. They had started as strangers, but now they were a team, a family. And as he stood on the brink of the final trial, Ethan knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, he wouldn't face them alone.